If you're tired of being broke, if you're done watching others win while you stand still, then this is for you. This isn't about luck. This isn't about privilege. This is about action, relentless, focused, unapologetic action. Because in the real world, money doesn't follow wishes. Money follows action, so lock in, shut out the noise, and hear what they'll never teach you in school, the mindset, the moves, the raw truth behind how to never be broke again. In life, success doesn't arrive gift trapped at your doorstep. No one hands it to you. No one offers it on a silver platter. And if you're waiting for permission for the right time, for someone to notice your potential and bless you with an opportunity you're already losing, success doesn't care about intentions, dreams, or how badly you hope things will change. The world rewards those who take action, those who claim what they believe is theirs, not those who sit and wait for luck or charity. Look around. Every person who has built real wealth, freedom, and power had to take it. They weren't chosen. They chose themselves. They didn't rely on luck. They made themselves too skilled, too valuable, too disciplined to ignore. Whether it was the entrepreneur who built an empire from nothing or the athlete who trained while everyone else slept, they made a decision to take success by force. They didn't wish for it. They chased it down, tackled it, and made it theirs. This world is competitive. It rewards the bold, the relentless, and the obsessed. It punishes hesitation and fear. If you move slow, if you second, guess, someone hungrier than you will take your spot. And that's not unfair, that's nature. That's how the game works. There are no participation trophies in the real world. Either you dominate or you get dominated. Either you become the person others want to pay, follow, and trust, or you fade into the background. That's the truth no one tells you. Success is like a fortress. You don't knock politely on the door. You kick it in. You don't ask for permission to enter. You break through with undeniable skill, unshakable mindset, and ruthless consistency. Waiting around, hoping to be noticed, is a losing strategy. If you're not building, you're decaying. If you're not taking action, you're being left behind. Every second you spend overthinking is a second someone else is outworking you. People make the mistake of thinking success is about talent or luck. It's not. It's about movement. It's about pushing when you're tired, showing up when it's hard, executing when others are distracted. The people at the top didn't get there by chance. They clawed their way up, piece by piece, day by day. They took success because they knew nobody was going to hand it to them. Not their boss, not their parents. Not the economy, not the algorithm. They assumed full responsibility, and that's the moment everything changed. When you look back at your life 5 or 10 years from now, you'll realize something important. The only difference between you and those who made it is this: they moved. They didn't overthink. They didn't wait until they felt ready. They didn't scroll for hours looking for inspiration. They started, they failed, they adjusted, and they kept going. Action is the great separator. It's the dividing line between those who want success and those who take it. So many people stay broke, stuck, or lost not because they lack potential, but because they don't take aggressive ownership of their situation. They hope someone will see them. They hope things will magically change. But that's not how winners think. Winners assume it's all on them. Winners act as if no one is coming, and that belief makes them dangerous, focused, unstoppable. The moment you realize that no one is obligated to help you succeed is the moment you become powerful. Because then and only then do you finally start moving like someone who's ready to take what's theirs. Most people wait around for motivation like it's some kind of divine lightning bolt. They think they need to feel like it before they can take action, and that's why they stay broke, tired, average. They don't realize the truth. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is a system. If you're relying on motivation to build your life, you're already setting yourself up to fail. Motivation is inconsistent. It fades. It's a spark, not a flame. Discipline is what keeps the fire burning when there's no fuel left. Anyone can grind when they're excited. Anyone can be productive when life feels good, when the mood hits, when the sun is shining and the caffeine kicks in. But real winners, the ones who actually make it, are the ones who do the work when they don't feel like it. They show up when they're tired. They show up when they're overwhelmed. They show up when no one is watching. That's discipline, and that's what builds wealth, freedom, and legacy. Think about it. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline builds habits, and habits build identity. If your actions depend on how you feel, you will always be controlled by your emotions. But if you train yourself to execute regardless of your feelings, you become dangerous, you become consistent, you become the kind of person who others rely on, who gets results, who doesn't flinch when things get tough. That kind of mental toughness, it doesn't come from hype videos or quotes. It comes from choosing discipline over and over again until it becomes second nature. Everyone wants the results. Everyone wants the lifestyle. But very few are willing to do what it takes every single day, even when it's boring, even when it's uncomfortable. That's the difference. Discipline is doing the small, necessary things over and over, even when they're not fun. That's waking up early, working late, saying no to distractions, and focusing on execution, not emotion. You don't rise by doing what's convenient. You rise by doing what's required. The truth is, nobody is motivated all the time. Even the most successful people have days where they don't want to get out of bed, where the pressure feels overwhelming, where the path ahead looks brutal, but they don't stop. They don't let emotion win. They've trained their mind to be stronger than their feelings. That's the edge. That's the muscle you have to build if you want to separate yourself from the crowd. And discipline isn't some magical trait you're born with. It's a choice, a habit, a decision you make daily. You don't wake up disciplined. You build discipline through repetition, through making yourself do the hard thing over and over until your brain stops negotiating, until it becomes automatic. That's how real progress is made, through boring, repeated excellence, through mastering the basics, through showing up when it's hard and still delivering. Most people are obsessed with motivation because it feels good. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't always feel good, but it works. And that's what matters. If you want to escape mediocrity, if you want to stop being broke, if you want to actually change your life, then discipline has to become your default setting. Not just when you're inspired, not just when you're motivated, every single day, because discipline doesn't care how you feel. It only cares about what gets done. Growth doesn't happen where it's safe. Growth doesn't live in routine, in easy choices, or in predictable outcomes. It lives in discomfort, in the unfamiliar, the uncertain, and the difficult. That's why comfort is so dangerous. It seduces you into thinking everything is fine, even when your dreams are dying. It convinces you to settle. It whispers that you've done enough, that you can slow down, that there's no need to push harder. And if you listen to that voice long enough, you'll wake up one day and realize years have passed and you haven't moved. Comfort is the invisible trap. It doesn't come with chains or warnings. It feels good. That's why it's deadly. It's the warm bed in the morning when you should be working. It's the scroll through social media instead of building your skills. It's doing just enough to get by instead of going all in on what you're capable of. Every time you choose comfort, you delay your own evolution. You trade your potential for short-term ease, and that's a deal you can't afford to keep making. The harsh truth is this: you will not grow inside your comfort zone. Nothing exceptional is created there. Comfort never teaches you resilience. It never teaches you how to handle pressure, how to lead, how to fight through adversity. Discomfort is the real teacher. The pain of failure, the pressure of deadlines, the anxiety of risk, that's where you sharpen your edge. That's where you find out what you're really made of. Not in the moments when things are easy, but in the moments when you feel like quitting and don't. Most people say they want to change their life, but they don't really mean it. What they want is to feel better while staying the same. They want the rewards of growth without the discomfort it demands. But that's not how the game works. You can't evolve without pressure. You can't level up without challenge, and you definitely can't build wealth, freedom, or legacy while clinging to comfort. Growth requires sacrifice. It demands risk. It forces you to become more than you are right now. Every breakthrough in your life will come after a decision to do something uncomfortable, starting that business, leaving that toxic environment. Waking up earlier, taking responsibility instead of making excuses. None of it feels good in the moment, but it's in those uncomfortable decisions that everything starts to change. Your body grows in resistance. Your mind sharpens under stress. Your confidence builds every time you prove to yourself that you can endure more than you thought. Comfort is easy, but it's also expensive. It costs you your ambition. It drains your drive. It kills your hunger. You can't be a lion and live like a house cat. If you want to dominate your space, if you want to stop being broke, if you want to finally reach the next level, you need to become someone who seeks out discomfort, who leans into pressure, who finds power in the hard path. That's how you outgrow the version of yourself that's keeping you stuck. You were not meant to be soft. You were not built for a life of routine and regret. Deep down, you know that. That's why comfort feels good in the moment, but leaves you empty over time. Because there's something inside you that knows you're capable of more, but more only comes to those who chase discomfort, not those who avoid it. Growth doesn't ask for your permission. It demands your pain, your effort, your sacrifice. And every time you choose comfort over growth, you postpone the life you're supposed to be living. Everyone wants to make more money. That's easy. But the mistake most people make is obsessing over income while ignoring value. They chase checks instead of chasing impact. They focus on what they can get, not on what they can give. But here's the truth that separates winners from everyone else. Income is a byproduct of value. Money flows to those who solve problems, not to those who demand rewards. If you want to stop being broke, stop asking, "How can I make money?" and start asking, "How can I be more valuable?" Value is the foundation of all wealth. Look at the highest paid people in any industry. They're not paid just because of who they are. They're paid because of the problems they solve, the results they deliver, the way they make other people's lives easier, faster, smarter, or more efficient. The bigger the problem you solve, the more valuable you become. If you want to 10x your income, 10x your usefulness. That's the formula no one wants to talk about, because it requires actual work learning skills, building expertise, developing yourself. Chasing money without value is like trying to build a house with no foundation. You might make some quick wins, you might even fake success for a little while, but it won't last. Sooner or later, people catch on. Your clients, your customers, your audience, they know when you're just trying to take. But when you're obsessed with giving more than expected, with delivering results that go beyond the transaction, money starts to chase you. That's the shift. That's when you go from hustler to high performer. The world pays people who understand how to be useful. You can complain about what you're not earning, or you can become so good they can't ignore you. That means investing in skills, not just spending on comfort. That means studying the game, learning how your industry works, and understanding what problems people actually need solved. You don't get rich by doing what everyone else is doing. You get rich by becoming rare, by being the person who delivers so much value that the price becomes irrelevant. The truth is, broke people often focus on how to make a quick buck. Wealthy people focus on how to build systems that deliver long-term value. One is chasing, the other is attracting. One is reactive, the other is strategic. And the gap between the two is mindset. When you make value your obsession, you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a creator. You stop chasing hourly pay and start designing scalable solutions. You stop looking for jobs and start building offers. That shift in perspective is everything. Even if you're starting from zero, value is your way out. You don't need money to start, you need insight, effort, and the will to serve at a higher level. Whether it's your time, your skill set, your creativity, or your knowledge, bring something to the table that people actually need. The market doesn't care about your background, it cares about results. If you can deliver, you will always get paid. If you can overdeliver, you will never be broke again. Value is the currency of trust. People pay who they trust. People refer who they trust. People come back to who they trust. And trust is earned through consistency, excellence, and the ability to deliver over and over again. That's why it's not about chasing income. It's about building reputation, impact, and leverage, and all of that starts with becoming obsessed with the value you create. If your life feels stuck, it's probably not because you're lazy or unmotivated. It's because you're trying to grow in the wrong soil. Most people underestimate the power of their environment, the people around them, the energy they absorb, the conversations they hear every day. But your environment is either pushing you forward or pulling you under. It's either fueling your ambition or draining your fire. No matter how strong you think your willpower is, if you're surrounded by average, negativity, or small thinking, you will slowly start to shrink into the shape of your surroundings. The truth is, you can't level up in a space that keeps you locked in your old identity. If everyone around you is broke, undisciplined, distracted, or unmotivated, you'll have to fight a silent battle just to stay focused. You'll constantly feel out of place for wanting more. You'll feel guilt for working hard, shame for dreaming big, and resistance every time you talk about goals. That's not growth, that's sabotage. It doesn't matter how great your vision is if your environment is designed to kill it. You become what you're around. That's not just a theory, it's human nature. You absorb the habits, beliefs, and energy of your circle. If you're surrounded by people who complain, waste time, and settle, guess what you start doing the same? Not because you're weak, but because it's what's normalized. But when you put yourself in a room where everyone's focused, disciplined, leveling up, and getting results, you can't help but rise to that standard. That's why the fastest way to change your life isn't always changing your habits first. It's changing the environment that shapes those habits. Sometimes your environment isn't just people, it's places. It's your room, your city, your desk, your online spaces. It's what you see, hear, and interact with every day. If your environment is cluttered, chaotic, and uninspiring, don't be surprised if your mind feels the same. You need to create a space that reflects the life you're building, not the one you're trying to escape. You can't transform your future if your surroundings are constantly reminding you of your past. Too many people try to fix their mindset while staying stuck in toxic settings. They keep reading books, watching videos, and setting goals, but all in a space that contradicts their growth. That's like trying to get fit while living in a fast food restaurant. It doesn't matter how much discipline you have, your environment will eventually win. So the smartest move you can make is to remove yourself from what's holding you down. That might mean cutting ties with draining people, moving to a new place, joining better circles, or simply redesigning your daily routines. You don't need more motivation, you need more alignment. You need to put yourself in spaces where success is expected, not doubted. Where ambition is the baseline, not the exception. Where it's normal to talk about goals, to build, to hustle, to grow. Because in the right environment, momentum happens naturally. It's not forced. You don't have to constantly fight to stay on track. You're surrounded by people and systems that reinforce your mission every single day. There are people out there who will challenge you to be better, who will call you out on your excuses, who will raise your standards just by existing in your space. But you'll never meet them if you stay stuck in the same circles, the same patterns, the same noise. Growth requires movement, not just mentally, but physically. You have to move differently, think differently, and sometimes be somewhere different, because your environment isn't just part of the equation. It is the equation. Wealth isn't as far away as most people think. It's not buried under years of struggle or locked behind a million small steps. It starts with one decision, a real, powerful, no turning back kind of decision. The kind that slices through your excuses, burns the bridge to your old self, and forces you into motion. That one decision might not make you rich overnight, but it will change your direction. And once you shift your direction, your entire future changes with it. Most people are walking in circles because they haven't made that decision yet. They say they want wealth, but they live like they are okay with being broke. They talk about goals, but everything in their actions screams hesitation. The truth is, wealth starts the moment you get brutally honest with yourself. When you stop waiting for the perfect timing, when you stop seeking external validation, when you finally decide not to try, not to see how it goes, but to commit. Fully, completely, like your life depends on it. That one decision might be to start your own business. It might be to learn a new skill. It might be to cut off distractions, change your environment, or walk away from the comfort that's been quietly killing your drive. But whatever it is, it's a line in the sand. You either stay where you are stuck, tired, broke, frustrated, or you step forward into something unknown but necessary. That decision won't feel comfortable. It's not supposed to, but that's the price of growth. That's the cost of wealth, and most people never pay it because they're too addicted to safety. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. What you need is the courage to decide and the discipline to follow through, because action creates clarity. Most people are waiting for clarity before they act, but that's not how it works. You act, you fail, you learn, you adapt. Wealthy people don't have fewer doubts, they just don't let those doubts stop them. They know that results don't come from thinking, they come from doing. Your future doesn't care how long you've been stuck. It doesn't care about your past mistakes. It doesn't care what school you went to, how you were raised, or what the economy is doing. It cares about what you do now, about the decision you make today. Because everything you want is on the other side of action, and action starts with choice. One moment where you stop entertaining plan B, where you stop playing it safe, where you stop talking and start executing. You see, there's no magic to wealth. There's just courage, the courage to be different, to risk embarrassment, to be misunderstood, to fail in front of people who secretly hoped you would. That's the internal war you have to win. But once you win that battle, the battle to decide the rest becomes mechanical. You wake up, you show up, you build, you execute, and you repeat. And day by day, brick by brick, you construct a life that people once told you was impossible. That life doesn't begin 5 years from now. It doesn't begin when you get lucky or when someone finally gives you a shot. It begins the moment you say, enough. Enough wasting time, enough playing small. Enough waiting. That decision is the spark, and once it's made, nothing is ever the same again. Because when you finally commit, when you truly decide, the path opens, the excuses fall away, and the grind becomes purpose. You don't need more time. You don't need more chances. You need one thing: action. Every second you wait, someone else is taking what could have been yours. So stop watching and start building, because money doesn't chase the passive. It follows the ones who move first. Change your discipline, change your circle, change your life. The next level is waiting, and it won't wait forever.